So joining me live to respond is HISD Superintendent Mike Miles. Thank you so much for coming into the studio to talk to me about this.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
So I know you were at the board meeting last night, but we just recapped it a little bit there. What were your thoughts when hearing that? How did you feel last night's meeting went?
So last night we focused on the NWEA MAP assessments and student scores, and we're at a much higher starting point academically than we were last year. And so that was my report to the board. That was the main part of the meeting for us. We heard the public comments. It's understandable when we can't talk about why a principal leaves, that
Right.
people have some concerns or they're confused. And you can understand we cannot reveal personnel matters in public. The outgoing principal has also rights for privacy, and so that's what we do.
Can you give any more details just about why you can't discuss it? Because people feel like that's a lack of transparency.
Yes, so we have 274 principals, by the way. Sorry. We also have 645 assistant principals. So when we move one or two, that's not revolving door, a lot of principals moving in the district. At the same time, when there is a personnel action, and this is not a surprise, the principal has been on administrative leave for over a month. We cannot discuss that because the person has rights to appeal. They have a right to go to TEA, Texas Education Agency, for appeal. And so until that gets to go through the legal process, we try to be very careful about revealing any of the information.
And then Pei Benito comes in and doesn't even start the job, saying that she's been bullied online. So now they're on their third principal. I mean, I know this is happening at other schools too. There's been shakeups at other schools.
She didn't even start, so I'm not sure you can say they're on their third principal, but the kids don't know her, that she didn't even show up with kids there. So
what'd you think of
Spencer,
that, though, that she wasn't even able to start?
People have to make some decisions of the right fit for them, and she felt like she was bullied, and she didn't think that was going to change. And so I get that. It's a tough job being a principal, and when you also have to fight social media battles, for some it's overwhelming. And so very sympathetic to that, but we have a principal there, Spencer, who's going to do a great job. She had good meetings with the community already. We heard last night even that they think that's a step in the right direction, so we feel pretty good about that.
There's another parent that wanted to voice some concerns. Jordan Cheesmar, this is her question for you, Mr. Miles.
Why do you think that you know better than parents know for their kids and teachers who have worked in the school district for years? How can you say that you know better than them without giving them the chance?
So, one of the primary jobs of the administration, not just me, but the senior executive directors, the executive directors, is to put principals in place. I actually don't choose the principals, but they do. And we base the selection of principals on a number of criteria. How strong their instructional leadership is, how well they can motivate a staff, how well they can work with the community, several different things. The primary one is, can they support kids in raising the academic performance of the entire school?
I think what we're hearing from educators is that they feel that teachers and administration are a little bit at odds. They feel a lot of pressure coming down from the administration. Do you see it that way?
I don't see it that way. I mean, it's 10,640 teachers, and of course, throughout 274 schools, there's differences in leadership, principals, and teachers. But what I see right now, and I've been in 40-some schools this year, 130 last year, I see teachers working with the principals. I see the relationship between principals and teachers very professional and very supportive. There are exceptions, but overall the teachers are getting on board. We could not have gotten the achievement results last year if the teachers were not on board with their principals and the principals on board with the direction of the district.
Well, where you saw achievements was with the NES model, and we actually did get one viewer who wrote into us.
We also got achievement on the other end. We went from 93 A and B rated campuses to 170. That's not just NES.
Good point. Good point. There is somebody who is in favor of NES, though, asking if you would ever consider making the NES model like a magnet style, school choice style school where they would have the opportunity to opt into an NES model.
Hadn't thought about making it a school choice model or magnet models. That you do know that most of the schools that that are NES opted into NES. So the first year we had 28 NES schools, 57 schools opted in. And so that's how we got 85 last year.
Do they get better funding than the non-NES schools?
Yes. So, and by that I mean the salaries are higher for teachers, and then there are teacher apprentices and learning coach. So more staff is where the most of the funding, extra funding is.
Why do they need the extra funding at NES model schools?
So most of the NES schools were the struggling campuses. I don't know if you may remember, most of them were D or F rated schools a year ago. And so those campuses with struggling populations where the kids are behind in their proficiency need more science of reading teachers, interventionists, teacher apprentices to help in the classroom. And that's where the extra funding comes.
All right, Houston ISD Superintendent Mike Miles, we do appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for coming in and answering our questions and answering questions of our viewers. We appreciate it.